Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome to another chapter of Page Full of Life. I am Elliot Page, an entrepreneur and accountability coach. This is a platform for intellectuals who likes engaging with thought-provoking topics. Let's turn the page. Okay, so what we're gonna discuss in um, this segment called "Hold Them Accountable," where I take a topic or I take a person and I just hold that person or that thing, that concept, that topic, and I hold it accountable. I want to open it up for discussion and just kind of dive into it. And so here we have Charlie Kirk and his untimely demise. Him getting shot at a college event at a university in Utah. The caption reads Charlie Kirk, the CEO and co founder of the conservative youth organization Turning Point USA, is dead after being shot during an event at a Utah college.
Oh shit, not good.
Yeah, so what I want to do is I want to take this topic or this event that happened, and I want to dive into the discussion of political divisiveness. That's who I'm holding accountable. Who I'm holding accountable using this scenario is political divisiveness, and more importantly, kind of just open it up as a question, a curious question of, is it okay if I disassociate myself with people who hold certain political beliefs? Is that okay? Is that morally right or is it morally wrong? But before we get into that though, let's kind of give some context of the whole Charlie Kirk situation. So, um, for full honesty, I had no idea who Charlie Kirk was until he got assassinated. All right. So you know, kind of I let it bypass me, and then you keep seeing it circulating around the news. You keep seeing it on your timeline. You keep seeing his name. You keep you're seeing this tragedy, right? And then you start seeing this public outcry, this public outpour of emotions and sympathy towards this figure who unfortunately was met the end of his life in front of a massive crowd, right? Very very tragic, very violent. No one should have to as spectators, no one should have to live with that trauma that they just experienced. His that the person's family shouldn't have to experience their family member um meeting an untimely demise. And even for himself, people don't really want to die young. They want to hold on a legacy and things of that nature, right? Okay, so didn't know who he was. Started seeing his name populate all over the timelines, all over the news outlets. So I'm like, okay, man, I need to do my research. I need to figure out who this person is, so I'm not completely under a rock. And I guess I was based off of the sympathy he was getting. I mean, I was seeing more sympathy towards Charlie Kirk than I was seeing when Trump had an attempt on his life. Or ironically, uh, Charlie Kirk was getting more sympathy than the Colorado high school shooting that happened literally at the same time at on the same day. Um, what was that? September 10th, at noon. That school shooting happened literally at noon, right around the time at noon when Charlie Kirk got shot by a sniper. Okay. Um, and so I'm seeing a lot of sympathy, for this guy. So automatically my brain is going towards, okay, this guy was a voice for many people, a voice for the voiceless. the people's champ. He did a lot of outstanding works. Um, it said, he was an activist, right? So he did a lot of good things, a lot of progressive things to progress the culture, and to kind of shape shift our thinking, certain parts of society and our thinking, and going into a different direction as part of a certain movement, right? um that's what my mind is going, because the people who were sympathizing with the guy, saying, "Oh man, no one should die because of their political beliefs," which I agree. No one should. He was a man of God. He had a family. No one, he didn't deserve it, type of thing. That was what the dialogue was online. Okay, and so I immediately go into research mode, and it didn't take me long. I didn't have to do a deep dive. But here's some of the things that Charlie Kirk is known, and being quoted as saying. These are the stances that he had. There was a time where he said, "Black people should not receive reparations, since it has been 200 years, and they should have had plenty of time for them to be able to get a job." Okay. Um, Another comment he made, he said that if his 10-year-old daughter got pregnant by rape, he would still make her have the baby. If his 10-year-old daughter, who is at the age of not able to, have decisions on their own, and way too young to, be having sexual intercourse, obviously, by sexual assault, that was not, that would not have, that would not be her choice. And then, for someone to have a traumatic experience like that, as sexual assault, their bodies, um, being targeted and being violated, and now they have the burden of not only that emotional trauma from the sexual assault, but now they have a child born out of that mess, or going to be born out of that mess. And like, there's such a rigidity towards the thought of abortion and the whole pro-life topics, that you don't even give an open mind for your daughter, for now the two burdens that she's going to have to carry in life. One, with the emotional trauma of being sexually assaulted, and then having a child through that. Automatically, I mean, it's not like she's going to go and date the perpetrator. So she's going to be a single mom at the age of 10. But you don't want to you don't even want to be open minded to the thought of her having an abortion. And abortion is one of those tricky topics, right? It's one of those tricky decisions, almost like pulling the plug on a loved one. A lot of people can say, "Oh, I would do this in this situation, or I would do that." It looks a lot different when you're faced with that decision. Like, this is real life. This is really happening. Name, man, I really got to pull the plug on my mom, my brother, um, my spouse, or something like that. Or, man, should or shouldn't my child, who has gotten sexually assaulted and impregnated, should they keep the child? Should they not? So, and another comment I pulled, another quote, is him saying that gun deaths are worth it in order to still have the Second Amendment intact. So, in order for us to be able to bear arms in this country, gun deaths are necessary. Gun deaths are what happened. That's what Charlie Kirk's stance was. Okay. Now I'm seeing those things. Right. I've done my quick research, and right away I'm forming the opinion of, oh, he's divisive. That's how I interpret it. That's how I take it. That is how it came off to me, right? Other people, it came off. Obviously, he comes off another way because he has a following. Um, he fits other people's agendas. Okay. Um, and so just like like murder is tragic. Okay, but words have consequences, especially in politics, especially if you're an activist in politics. If you're really trying to drive some change and you're on the opposite side of whatever the you know whatever the topic at hand is, right? You are so far on the other side, right? And that's what politics is, right? It's usually is one side who has thinks that society should go in this way, and you have another group of people who think society should go that way. Um, you know, I say my own personal definition is politics is two things. It's the two P's. Politics is people and policies. It's people making policies in order to impact other people. Okay. Um, and so if you were an activist in that space, it's just kind of it's one of those things. It's like, hey man, this comes with the territory. You might not make it to your life expectancy. You might not make it to old age. I'll bring up another activist, Martin Luther King. He's famously quoted as saying had a feeling, a really strong conviction that he was not gonna be able to live to see his 40th birthday. Okay, and he did not because he knew the stances that he had, the activism, and what he was fighting for. He knew there were certain consequences with that. Hey, you can you can you can have you should not get killed for your beliefs, right? But that does not mean, and you can have a family. You can have a family and you can be a man of faith, okay? But that does not stop someone else who is pissed off and has an agenda, who is upset at some of the conversations you're having around a certain topic, right? That does not stop them from doing harm to you. Hey, they probably hitmen have families too, right? They just look at it as a job. A person who's pissed off about, you know, whatever, and they get so riled up to the point where they're like, "Hey, I can't take this person in his life anymore. I'm gonna do something about it." Okay. Um, this is one of those things, man. And look, it just comes with the territory. Okay. If you're a firefighter, you go out every day and you have the understanding of, hey man, this might be my last day. I'm going into a burning building to save someone or save some people who I've never met before. And this my regular day at the office could turn into your last day in the office and your last day on earth. Okay. It's one of those things is to be understood it when you know the arena that you're in. Um, okay. And so, all right, let's get into it. So I posed a question. Like I said, in this segment, hold them accountable. I am holding the concept of political divisiveness accountable. All right. And so, specifically with that question, I'm asking to all of you, is it morally wrong or morally right to disassociate from friends who support certain political views that you completely disagree with? Okay. So, basically, in this scenario, if a person has political beliefs and they're my friend, and it's one of those things, we may not have talked about it in length. We may not have talked about politics in great length, right? But you know them, right? You know the type of person they are, right? But then you find out that they subscribe, they support, um, they support certain views of politics that you just completely don't agree with. I'm talking to the point where it goes against your moral fiber, right? And certain things are just kind of universally moral. Like we can say, hey, morally, yeah, that ain't right. Racism. I think we can all agree that morally, that's not right. We can all agree on that, right? That morally, hating someone to the point where you want them to die, right? You want to do harm to them. Hating someone because of the color of their skin is morally wrong, right? Okay, and so just I'm posing this question and trying to paint this scenario of, is it morally wrong or morally right to be able to say, hey, this person supports certain politics and politicians who go against my moral fiber, right? They're racist, in other words. Can you is that fine? Or is that person messed up that they be like, you know what, man, I don't want I didn't know you had these beliefs. I don't agree with them. And I think our friendship can just cool off. I think we're good. I think, if I see you and I see you type of thing. Is that wrong? To me, I don't think it is. I don't I don't think it is. See, look, a person is allowed to have freedom of expression, the right to form an opinion, but the next person is allowed to disagree with that other person's opinion. I think that's where we kind of like missed the plot here. We've missed the plot on see these things like politics and religion, right? Those are two uh never-ending topics. They're almost like vortexes. They're like dialogue vortexes. Like you string up a conversation and you jump into politics or religion with somebody or a group of people, that can go on for days and days. Why? Because people are dug into their beliefs. A, a belief system is something that's so strong and so connected to an individual person, they will die for that. They will die for that. That's how important their belief system is. All right. Now, I believe in this. Um, so you're not gonna do any good by trying to convince them, debate them, and sway them to another side, right? Um, and so is it? I don't think it's wrong. I don't think it's wrong if there's an attack on your belief system. There's almost like an intruder towards your belief system. Someone that you previously thought that you knew, right? Um, I mean, dare I say it, the political climate in the United States is unsettling. Again, it goes back to that word, morals. Morally, if you look at what's going on in the United States and some of the political dialogue, it is the most unsettling and that I've ever been a part of in my lifetime. Right? It's most unsettling. It's the most divisive. Now, there always have been political parties, okay? There's always been other religions. Um, I would say recently with certain administrations, it has become cool to roast, to put down, belittle, um, and have attacks against, have a hatred against the other opposing political party. Democrats and Republicans, right? Liberals and conservatives. it has never been this divisive, and to the point where like people are ready to come to fisticuffs. People are ready to kill you because you are on one party or the other. Before it used to be, oh yeah, I I feel like okay, I'm gonna use a traditional trope, a traditional um, element of politics that's always been with these political parties, Republicans and Democrats, right? One side usually is fighting for the rich, for the wealthy, for the one percenters. The other side is fighting for the middle class, the lower class, the working class people, the consumers, not the business owners, and the government programs, the social programs, the things to help them out, taxes. Should we tax the rich? Should we tax the non-rich? Um, you know, there's always been opposing sides to that, right? But it has never been this mean. It has never been this nasty. Where it's like because you hold that stance, I hate you. Um, and because of that, I think just I think just be, just how extreme these political sides have what it's grown into, how extreme it's been, um, that I think it's given way to where people now they just I think they're just fed up, and this is what you see in this shooting, right? And so um I look at it like this, is it so let's take a religion, right? And I'm a Christian, and my friend who now turns into a sadist, is it wrong for me to disassociate with them? Is it wrong? You guys tell me. If if we take religion and my friend who I just discovered that they are a Satanist, I'm sorry, a Satanist, they worship the devil, they glorify evil, um, they are all into the shadows of the night, like if I discover that now that is the religion that they're practicing, is it morally wrong for me to disassociate with them where I'll be like, hey, I don't want to hang out with you anymore? Is that wrong? Because of the beliefs that they have. I mean, what are we gonna do? We can't I can't invite them to church. We can't hang out at church. We don't share interests anymore. And to the point where it's getting weird and awkward, you know? What do I do when we having a family dinner? I invite you over to my house and I want to say grace over the food. That might make you burn up inside. The person who's a Satanist, right? We don't share any interest anymore. Like, how can we can be cordial? It's not to say I'm not gonna hate you. I'm not gonna hate you. I don't want you to die. I don't want you to suffer or anything like that, right? But I don't think we can hang anymore. I don't have any interest. We don't have the same interest. Is that wrong? I don't think it is. Same for the same for someone like with politics, right? And I'm talking about today, 2025 politics in America, right? Is it wrong if certain people swing to an extreme side and I no longer want to associate with them? Is that wrong? I don't think it is. Just and I'm they have every right to believe in what they want to believe in, but I have every right to disagree with it. That's all I'm saying. You have the right to form your own opinion. I have the right to disagree with it. That's where I think we're missing the plot. I think that's where we're getting things confused. People, they can have their own opinions about things, and other people can disagree with it. We don't have to agree with every. I think we somehow have gotten to the point where if you don't agree with someone, you have to hate them, or they are just this terrible person. And I try my best not to judge. Right? I really try my best not to judge. But some people, man, some people, the beliefs that they have, like I said, where he's like, all right, man, universally, we can all agree that that is morally not right. Racism, morally not right. So you have the right to have that belief system that because someone is a certain change of color than you, that they are beneath you. You have the right to think that. I have the right to not only disagree with it, but also not to want to have to associate with you, and I should not get shamed for that. And so that's what I think. That's where I'm at with it. All right. We're only gonna do the hold them accountable segment today. More segments to come. Trust me, y'all. I'm trying to make this as entertaining and engaging as I can. Um, it will help if you guys, engage back. All right. Let's This is a commentary. Let's discuss, you know. Let's I want this to be a community of intellectuals, a place where we can all come, we can all just express ourselves, express our thoughts in a very wise manner, right? Like, you can bring some meat and potatoes to the conversation. Do your due diligence by, getting some the right sources, um, and doing your research on a particular topic. Don't just going out there and have a stance about something only because other people had the same stance, right? That's not you being your own person. But hey, definitely more segments to come, more topics to come, more episodes, more chapters of Page Full of Life. All right. Thank you guys for rocking out with me. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And hey, I'll see you next week.